Shalom. All praise to the Most High, Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, by Shem Rakakwadash, and double honor to our apostles, elders, and bishops here at Great Millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect. It's brother Atazwan. We're just going to jump into a real quick lesson based on what we've seen all week long. You know, the talk that's out there all over the internet, in the news, and so on about these files that they've gotten possession of. They're having all kind of congressional hearings on it and so forth. All right. We see that, you know, this man, we've been telling you that this man is the devil. All right. And he is a deceiver and a liar and a murderer and so on. All right. This group of family from the lineage of E-Sauw, Edom. All right. The Amalekites, all right, and we see everything that's coming out about them. You had a couple of years ago the discovery of what was going on in a synagogue in Brooklyn, you know, a couple of years ago with these dirty rats, okay? So the whole point being is that this is not new, right? The prophets and the teachers of the Lord have been telling you, you know, ever since the YouTube era, okay, who this man really was, okay? And so to find out that all these different types of acts have been going on, it's nothing new, okay? They're a very vile and wicked being, you see? And they've deceived the whole world into making the whole world think that they're the people of the Most High, and you know, that they're the blessed people to the point that you can't even speak up against them and so on, right? I'm going to have to use a little bit of code word, all right? You brothers and sisters out there, you follow, you know what's going on, all right? But those people of the East, right, in the middle, as they like to call it, in this place over here in Babylon the Great are linked together, okay? Because a lot of things are done over here for the gist or for the betterment, if you will, for lack of a better term, for the benefit, let's say it that way, of these particular people, right? And so that covering cast is being removed by Yahweh, by Shem Yahushai. It's time for this man to go down, and even the other nations of the world looking from afar are disgusted by the acts that they hear about in these so-called files that they have, all right? So we're just going to get a few scriptures that fall along that line that show that this man has always been wicked. The scriptures have spoken of this man, and so now he's exposed to the point where he can no longer hide himself, all right? So let's just jump right into it, and we'll be done real quick. All right, this is Matthew 24:3, and it reads, "And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privily, saying, Tell us, when shall all these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world," right, at the end of this age, okay? And he goes on and it says in verse 4, "And Yahushua answered and said unto him, Take heed that no man deceive you," right? No man fools you, no man tricks you, okay? As a matter of fact, let's just go on in here and look at deceive, okay? Planeo. All right? And it just says what? To go astray, deceive, error, seduce, okay? These people have seduced the world into making them think, right, that they're the people of the Most High, and they are not, all right? By biblical usage, it says to cause the stray or lead astray, lead aside from the right way, all right? Let's see here, to go astray, wander, roam, to lead away from, metaphorically, to lead away from the truth, right? And what they've done is fooled the whole world to lead them away from the scriptures and the fact that they are not the real, true chosen people, okay? And they fooled a lot of people over the centuries, all right, as to who they really are as jury, okay? Going on, it says for verse 5, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Mashiach, and shall deceive many, right? And they try to give you this idea, they call him Rabbi, right? Rabbi, okay, that they're supposed to be upstanding people who follow the law of the Lord, okay, and so on. Now, we typically apply this to our own people, right? But even in this case, they are themselves also false prophets, right? Because they lie and they deceive, they cheat, okay? All right, so they're false prophets in another kind of way, all right, where they've deceived the whole world. All right, going on in verse 6, it says, and ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars, see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. And we see that going on now ever since those, hook-nosed propeller hats been over there in that land. It's nothing but constant talk of war and them warring against the people who invited them in from the 1940s, right? All right? Because these people were a people that no nation really wanted them. You see, if you go back and do the history on it. Nevertheless, let us continue on, verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences, earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginnings of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And see it, and they know that the Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans are really the true children, all right, of the 12 tribes, right? The children of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, okay? And they don't want anybody else to lay that claim, or else they stick the what? Anti-Sem on you, okay? And they have all this political protection around the world. Okay. Verse 10, and then shall many be offended and shall betray one another and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come, right? Which is really speaking about the 12 tribes are scattered across the four corners of the earth, all right? And the reason why I'm reading that is because, see, for so long, our people have always been told you're a no people, and that these other people are the real people of the Lord. Well, that's not the case anymore, because the truth has hit the planet and has gone out to the four corners of the earth, all right? Because of one, the men of the Lord, starting with our apostles here at Great Millstone, who have been teaching for so many years, decades, right? And the brotherhood on down, and then the implementation, if you will, of the internet and YouTube has broadened, right, this gospel all across the earth in record time, so that all of those that would hear the truth, right, either through a man that's preaching in their city, town, or country, all right, or through the internet, would get this word and understand that you are the true children of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and these other people are false. They're fake, you see? And so now we're at that point where things are being revealed, okay, though we have a little time left for all these other prophecies to come to pass, right? 3 or 4 major ones, right? You got Jacob's trouble, right? And then you got World War III, and then you have the implementation or the mandate of the RFID, right? Where there'll be a cashless society, right? All 3 of those are in the workings right now, okay? But the whole point being is that these people are false prophets. They're liars. Okay, they've used all type of sorcery and witchcraft, and these files are just the tip of the iceberg, right? But the whole point is that the Lord is exposing them and this man is fallen. Okay? Let's go over here real quick to Revelation 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, right? Having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time, right? This man is known as the devil. And what is the devil? Salakia. So let's go to it. Diablos, right? And let's see here. It says what? False accuser, right? Devil, slanderer, right? They slander everybody that speaks against them or rises up against them, right? They call other people E-Sauw, okay, when they know who they are, okay? Slanderer, false accuser, and it's talking about a man. Metaphorically, right, in number 2, it says what? Applied to a man who opposes the cause of the Most High, may be said to act the part of the devil or to side with him, right? And that's what these people are doing. They sacrifice to Moloch, right? False deity, false god, okay, and so on. As these files, as they say, are exposing them for the things that the horrible, wicked things that they're doing, right, and have done. And really, when you think about it, especially for those of us in the truth, we're not surprised. We've been saying it all along, okay? And so it describes to you and tells you that this man, all right, with the one that plays the part of the devil, that it is a man on the earth, right? It is not talking about a singular man, but a house. You see, this is Isaiah 14 and 12. It says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, right? Son of the morning, how art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High, right? The real true children. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee, right? And if it was really talking about Satan, you can't see him, right? He's not visible to your physical eye, you see. But it's telling you that these people or the nations will be able to see who you are as a man. And so the nations are waking up to the idea, hey, these people who keep saying that everybody hates them and wants to attack them, right? And that little piece of land over there, you know, this man is a liar, all right? And he's wicked. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? You see, so it's talking about a man, right? That lineage, okay? So that's what you're seeing. You're seeing this man fall, right, from his heights, okay? So go to Isaiah 25 and start right here at the top. It reads, O Lord, Yahweh, thou art my power. I will exalt thee. I will praise thy name, for thou hast done wonderful things. Thy counsel of old are faithfulness and truth, right? Because these people are all against the truth, okay? For thou hast made of a city an heap, of a defense city a ruin, a palace of strangers to be no city. It shall never be built. Therefore shall the strong people glorify thee. The city of the terrible nations shall fear thee. For thou hast been a strength to the poor, a strength to the needy in his distress, which would be us. Okay? A refuge from the storm, a shadow from the heat, when the blast of the terrible ones is as a storm against the wall. Thou shalt bring down the noise of strangers, as the heat in a dry place, even the heat with the shadow of a cloud. The branch of the terrible ones shall be brought low, you see. And so these are the terrible ones. We putting it in this connotation, this time, this age. These are the terrible ones, the wicked, okay? Verse 6, and in the mountain shall the Lord, Yahweh of hosts, make unto all people the feast of fat things, a feast of wines and, on the lees and slakia, of fat things full of marrow, of wines of the lees well refined, and he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people and the veil that is spread over all nations. Right? They've gotten everybody in the world, these other nations, if you will, to agree to protect them, and that they're a small nation, and they, America is the big bully of the world, the police of the world, and going to protect them. And now this veil that they've had, all right, over the eyes of the nations is falling, okay? And that's the work of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, that it's time for this man to be taken out of the way, okay? And this is, like I said, just the tip of the iceberg, and it's not all about just this whole situation with the files, because there's much more to it than that. But this is what's got the whole world talking, okay? And examining who these people really are, right? Especially when you're talking about high up officials from other nations and countries and those high officials here in the States and so on, right? Because when you say other countries, you're talking about even over there in that land in the middle, right? The East and Canada and all these other different places, London and so on, all right? They're mixed up in all of this stuff too, okay? Revelation 18:23, and it reads, "In the light of the candle shall shine no more, and all in thee," talking about the fall of Babylon the Great, "and the voice of the bridegroom and the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee, for thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived." You see, and these people have their hands in almost everything, and it's all about them. They want the world to be focused on them so much, right? They have so much attention in international news. Now they're getting the wrong attention, right? And that's all through the spirit, you see? But their sorceries, right? Their wickedness is being brought out, okay? And this is how they deceived all the other nations, right? Because they want everybody to think that they're the chosen people. Let's see here. The scriptures tell you that the Lord is not for them. Let's go right here to Exodus 17 and 14 real quick. You can go back and read this whole chapter. We just go get this portion right here. "And the Lord Yahweh said unto Moses, write this for a memorial in a book and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua, for I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven." And that's who these people are, right? They're the Amalekites. And verse 15, "And Moses built an altar and called the name of it Jehovah Nisi, or Yahweh banners, or the banner of Yahweh. For he said, because the Lord Yahweh has sworn that the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. So until they're put out, the Lord is always going to be against them, you see. And so we're living in that time for these things to come up, to be exposed, for the world to understand who the wicked are, and so on. Okay, their time is up. 2 Ezra 6, and we jump in right there, verse 7. We may read this all the way down. Let's see here. Right, we'll read it down to verse 28. All right. Verse 7, it says, "Then answered I and said, what shall be the part and asunder of times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth?" Right? Which will be the end of the age, end of the world as people would know it. right? For the earth abideth forever. So the earth is not going anywhere. It's just the end of rulership. Okay, verse 8, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. Verse 9, for Esau is the end of the world, right? And so, as I said before, they like to call another nation people E-Sauw, but they are really Esau. And they're the chief tribe, Amalek. Okay, and they've got the whole world fooled. Or so they thought. Okay, because now is the time where Yahweh Shem Yahushua is exposing them. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. The hand of man is betwixt the heel and the hand. Other question Ezra asked thou not. I answered then and said, O Lord that beareth rule, if I have found favor in thy sight, I beseech thee, show thy servant the end of thy tokens, whereof thou showest me part of the last night. So he answered and said unto me, stand up upon thy feet, and hear a mighty sound of voice. And it shall be as it were a great motion, but the place where thou standest shall not be moved. And therefore when it speaketh, be not afraid, for the world is of the end, the word, Salakia, for the word is of the end, and the foundation of the earth is understood. And why? Because the speech of these things trembleth and is moved, for it knoweth that the end of these things must be changed. And it happened that when I had heard it, I stood upon my feet and hearkened, and behold, there was a voice that spake, and the sound of it was like the sound of many waters. And it said, behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh and to visit them that dwell upon the earth, and will begin to make inquisition of them what they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness, and when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled, right? So you got two things going on in the end of these days. This man is falling out of his pinnacle, if you will, his heights. And what? And you're going to see the end of the torment, if you will, of Jacob, right? The Lord is fulfilling his word, number one, and that he would bring salvation to his remnant, right? He will bring our sentence to an end, right? And bring Esau out of power, bring him down. So you're seeing those two things begin to show themselves in the earth today. Verse 20, and the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished. Then will I show these tokens, the books shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see all together. And the children of a year old shall speak with their voices. The women with child shall bring forth untimely children of 3 and 4 months old, and they shall live and be raised up. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall all suddenly, they shall be suddenly afraid. Verse 24, at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear, and those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run, right? So times of trouble are coming, all right? So you're going to have all these things beginning to happen all throughout a period of time, okay? Very closely knit together, right? One thing after another, and after another, you see? And some of them happening at the same time, okay? Verse 25, whosoever remaineth from all these, right, that time of trouble that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation and the end of your world. So all these times of sorrow and trouble are coming upon the earth, including the fall of this man, for people to understand the wickedness of this man, okay? All right, and that the truth is going to be declared. Matter of fact, we're going to get to it. Verse 26, and the men that are received shall see it, who have not tasted death from their birth, and the heart of the inhabitants shall be changed and turned into another meaning. Verse 27, for evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched, right? Deceit, deceiver, man, devil. You see, it all ties together. Verse 28 is the point. As for faith, it shall flourish, corruption shall be overcome, right? These people are wicked, they're corrupt, they're morally, spiritually corrupt. Okay, the Lord said, I'll have war with them from generation to generation, which means until their generation is over, until they're no more. You see? As for faith, it shall flourish, corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which is the truth, right? That they're not the people of the Lord, and that the real children of the Lord and the truth of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua will be preached and taught in the earth, right? The remnant, the elect of the Lord, shall hear this word and repent and come back, and so on. The truth can't be stopped. You see? As for faith, it shall flourish, corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which had been so long without fruit, shall be declared. You see? And that's that's the point we're getting to. You see? So the truth is out, all right? And this man is falling down, right? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua and Lord's will, we don't have much further to go, right? Just get this thing going. So bring the chip, get it over with. Let's do it, right? Let's get it over with so we can see our salvation. All right, so with that, that was my thoughts for this evening. Put a few scriptures together concerning this. And you brothers and sisters out there, of course, we know, we're not upset about any of this. We knew that, these days would come, and we're excited because the more shit and crap that comes out on these people, the more we can look forward to our salvation, right? So let's give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, all right? And Lord's will, I'll see you all again real soon with another lesson, all right? Lord's will. Shalom.